ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gabriel Thompson. I am Pensacola native and loving it, and originally from Minnesota, so I can relate to that a little bit, but currently loving the Pensacola, Florida weather. I own a company called Bad Wolf Engineering, and what we do is we help entrepreneurs reach their dreams and create new technology and get their companies up and going. And today that company is called DrainBot. So here I'm sponsoring this company in order to try to figure out a good direction for it to go and get some advice from the field. So the problem that we discovered and that we're trying to solve with the DrainBot company is that of flooding from HVAC systems within the home. As a lot of you know, you have an HVAC system that sits outside with central air, and then you have the internal furnace unit that has a condensation drain line. What happens is the AC unit will generate the air you want to generate and temperature control your home. And while it does that, it creates condensation in fairly large amounts, and that is drained from the home via a drain inlet, which you're about to see. What happens is that air, the Florida air, which is prone to mold, sits up into that drain line and creates a mold and a blockage. And the water comes back up naturally because it can't leave the home, and it floods the inside of that area. Because the unit is out of sight, out of mind, oftentimes you don't see the flooding until it's too late, until it's come down or up the walls, into the flooring, and to thousands of dollars of damages. And that is the consistent, constant problem that we're trying to solve with this company. So we did a little validation before we jumped right into development. We absolutely found out that the majority of the calls received by HVAC companies were for this problem. We found outcries from property managers, apartment complexes, a lot of people who own many properties in many different locations don't even know when this is going to happen to them. There's no way to plan for it. So they're really interested in technology to figure out where it's going to go, how to get it, and how to maintain the system preemptively without having to be reactive to the problem. So what's going on today? What are some maybe competing factors that we have to go, and how are people solve this today? Currently, tenants and property owners are asking and pleading with their people to please flush your drain line every month at a minimum with bleach. One, it's ineffective. Two, it's really corrosive for the local environment. It does eventually leave the home and go right into the water table. So using highly corrosive and highly bad chemicals will cause harms there. They have smart detection devices. You've seen them, and I'll show you a picture of them. Little float sensors that when water comes back up, theoretically, the float sensor is supposed to catch it and turn off the AC unit. We found that most of the time it doesn't even work. They're either old, they're broken, or they're malfunctioning somehow. And every house that we've gone to look at this problem, that's been the case. Best case scenario, it flips on, the HVAC unit turns off, the water drains over time slowly, and then the HVAC unit turns back on. The on-off will actually destroy the AC unit, and then you have to replace the entire AC unit anyway. So it's a bad deal all around. And then other people say, well, we have professional services that blast it out when we have the problem, which is reactive to the damage being done, and then don't worry about it, insurance will cover it. These are the answers that we've gotten while doing a validation. So what did we do? We created a device that sits in the AC closet, as you can see on the picture to the right, and it injects our cleaning solution into the condensation drain line, picture center bottom, daily. So every single day, our cleaning solution is going into that line, killing the mold over and over and over again. So mold doesn't even have the chance to grow. What's awesome about this is that it's very easy to install, very easy to maintain. We have a subscription-based model that'll send you the bottles when needed. You don't even have to reorder them if you don't want to. And it lasts a minimum of 3 months, maximum of 9 months at a time. So this whole remember to do it once a month, maintenance is a headache. Tenants or owners going into their tenants' apartments or their homes to do this for them once a month is now not a thing. You can span that all the way up to 9 months if need be, and you can monitor the device even remotely, saying where's the bottle at, is there a flood detected, all kinds of things that are being added to this technology. A lot helped to 1 Million Cups who kind of threw out some ideas like, hey, I really love to see this integrated, and we were able to work through those. And the key takeaway here is that what we're really delivering, we're not delivering a product. We're really delivering the worry-free mentality for this type of maintenance, where we're all of a sudden removing this fear of this random problem that costs thousands of dollars out of property managers' minds, which is phenomenal. And that's what people are really clinging to. So who are we selling it to? We're going after the AC industry who already have customers who are looking to install versus maintain. one of the biggest things we got, one of the biggest pieces of feedback we got from these HVAC companies is that they don't want to go for maintenance. They want to go for installs. They make money on installs and not maintenance. So that was key. Rental agencies and home management or property management firms are obviously winners. Homeowners are on the bottom of the list because they're very hard to sell to. And we found that out during our first round of beta testing. We could talk about that in a little bit. And then insurance companies who are very excited about the product because this means they do less claims and they can offer more discounts to their people. So how are we selling it? We're going through a resale, direct sale, and wholesale. We found that HVAC companies buy all their supplies at distribution sites throughout the city, and that's who we're targeting. It's going to be our biggest beta point right there. And then corporate website, trade shows, and big box stores, all of those are happening. But after the HVAC companies get on board, we get this technology on the market, becoming a normal thing. We have standards in place, all that kind of thing. Never going to be going to these other places to entice other customers. We're selling the device at $100. A year's worth of bottles is $36 a month or a year. And then if you have a large amount of units, you can utilize our online portal for $10 a month. As you can see, our costs are crazy low comparatively speaking. That $7 a month for the online portal is overall and not per customer. So we're trying to get it to where we charge a smaller amount so we have less competitors, but enough amount to grow rapidly. And that's where we're at. And to do anything, you have to have a great team. So here's our awesome team of board of advisors who are constantly working on these projects, constantly making technology better and getting our word out there. You can see some familiar faces. We got Kinsey Fitzpatrick there. Some of you guys may know Richard Shaw, Gibson Engineering with Josh Gibson. Jordan Reyes is a Pensacola local. He's in the insurance industry. He's the owner of Goosehead. And of course, Marcia Truthman, who's a huge fan of the 1 Million Cups community here in Pensacola. All these people have put so much energy and time into this company, and they're really excited to see it take off. And everybody has their own role to play. So as presented 1 Million Cups, here's my contact information. I'd love to hear from every single one of you about some topics and points that we'll cover here in a little bit. I've gotten awesome feedback from these communities as I've been speaking to them, and it's actually helped us change direction in different areas of improvement. So we've seen great success in presenting here. I'd love to get your feedback and get the same reaction. Some of the ways that we're looking to be helped by this community have changed over time, but I still like to hear some of the answers. One of the things that we found were complicated, we're reaching out to the HVAC companies and property managers. How to do that effectively without like a standard sales, we're gonna go to the door and sell them, one-on-one or social media ads and stuff like that. We're trying to find new innovative ways to advertise to a target market. If you guys have experience with that, I'd love to hear about it. Feedback about everything we just talked about. Third-party validation. We're doing all kinds of deals right now with validators to figure out if we can stamp our approval on this product. And then general advice on what you've seen and how to further our goals as a company. I'd love to hear about all your guys' experience.
Great. Thank you so much, Gabriel. We are now going to open it up for questions. So you can raise your hand in the participants box. So if you click on participants at the bottom of the screen and then click on the hand raise button, or if you can type your question into the chat. I saw that Michael Silver had mentioned that he had this problem and he had to redo the floors. And so, yeah, who hasn't, right? Fortunately, I was renting when mine overflowed. And then now that we own our home, it's a very different story. So I am ready to buy as soon as you're ready to sell to me. So we have a question from Jonathan Kretz. So Jonathan, if you'd like to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, sorry, I got kicked off a couple times, so I hope I didn't miss it. I actually just came from Texas after being there for about 38 years. Didn't have this drain line problem. And then in my first week and a half, we already had the issue and had to pull out the shop vac and suck the water out. I'm sure more people on the call will know about this than I do. Very exciting proposition. But when it comes to scale, do you know the markets that are going to be needing this outside of the Florida market?
We do. So we're targeting the Southeast United States that statistically have the most problems. We've narrowed
Okay.
down the percentage of companies and people who already have HVAC maintenance for this reason. And we're narrowing down how to effectively reach them first
Okay.
versus wasting money and bring that CAC number all the way down. If you have advice or suggestions on how to reach them specifically, I'd love to hear about it. But we're using basic percentages, census data, and then HVAC companies who use those customers already, who have issues already. They can be like, well, instead of us doing this twice a year and charging you $600, we can install this device and you'll be good if you just buy our subscription. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the direction we're going.
Okay, great. Thank you.
CAC for this is actually pretty high. We found in our first round of beta testing, we found that property owners who weren't part of an association or a large organization, they would only purchase the product no more than 24 hours after they had the issue. So if you were there fixing their issue and they said, yeah, this is great, let's go ahead and buy it. But if you were there 24 hours later, they said, it's out of sight, out of mind. I'll buy it next time I have the problem. Very interesting. So we had to change our direction for sales.
Yeah. Yeah. There was a specific lease provision that we had to go back and look at because they said, did you read your 30-page lease? And we saw that provision in there that said, exactly, you've got it listed verbatim, and I appreciate that. You really know what's going on in the region. So I'll definitely reach out to you after this.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Mason has a question. Mason, unmute yourself.
There you go. Thank you very much. This actually is a very, very real problem for me as a homeowner, and has been actually twice now in the current home that I'm in, and once in the first home I ever purchased. And I can tell you from experience, when this happens in a unit that's housed in your attic and has 1 or 2 floors to trickle down, it can be 2 or 3 times as costly. In this particular house, we bought this house in October of 2018, and this happened right before we closed on it. And fortunately, the flipper who was in possession of it at the time said he fixed the problem, and he dried out all the carpet that had gotten wet at that point, because we caught it early during a walkthrough. The second time it happened was less than 6 months after we moved in, and we lost a full room of carpet out of it. And since then, we have discovered mold and mildew in the adjacent bedroom on the other side of this unit, and pulled that carpet out and had to replace the flooring. So I'm well aware this is a problem, and I'm glad that you've come up with this solution. As a homeowner, it surprises me that you've had a lot of resistance from homeowners, because this is a real deal. I mean, I've literally had to craft my own special little way of dribbling a hole into the PVC drain pipe at the unit itself and dribble in chlorine wherever there wasn't an access cap available. And of course, do I do that regularly? No, it doesn't occur to me. Not until a problem occurs. And the drain, the sensor you were talking about fails, the float sensor. So what I'm wondering is, did you do any kind of further research in the demographics of the homeowners you were approaching? And is there a specific demographic that was more resistant than others?
Perfect. So we did initial trials within the 150 miles of Pensacola area. Unfortunately, Pensacola is one of the biggest hotspots and the biggest areas for this issue, which is why we're also familiar with it here. I spoke in California, and they had no idea what I was talking about. But we didn't, as a startup, we had to figure out how to use our funds appropriately, the ones that we've developed so far. And we selected this area because we had so much success with the market. So when we actually when we actually went to the homeowners and said, look, this is what we're doing, this is what we have, this is how we can help you, we got so little interest and so many questions about, well, why do I actually need it? Why would I pay for that? That it actually made us take a step back and say, okay, well, before we invest more money into marketing for the larger region, let's figure out who these people trust. Let's figure out how to validate the product. Who can stamp a sign on this saying, yes, this indeed does help statistically, and build that credibility up. We may see better like we have the trade shows and the direct sales via our corporate website, we may see more of that grow once it's stamped and once we have more statistical value and it becomes normal. We have a company out in California who's making it a legal standard to where a device like this should be installed in homes that are built. Once that becomes a norm, you start seeing this more regularly, people will start saying, well, why don't we have one instead of why do I need one? But I was just as surprised. I feel like that's the only reason is because people, like you've had it 3 times. So there's some people out here only deal with it, once every 2-3 years. The statistics that we found was that once you have it once, you're exponentially more prone to have it again because you never actually clear out that line. That mold is still sitting in there. So it's a growing problem, and it's more people just don't realize how bad it can get. And in your situation, when the carpet was bad and the adjacent room's carpet was bad, your kids may be sleeping in that, and you have black mold growing in your carpet in which your kids are sleeping in. That's a parent's worst nightmare. But people don't think about it that way because it's just an AC unit. It's just water. I'll deal with it when it comes. There's so much going on that people just don't want to think about something else, I think, is what we ran into.
I think as a homeowner as well, I was unaware in my first home. I was unaware about this whole risk until it happened. Mm-hmm. And then it all just made sense. The unit was upstairs in the attic, in the hottest part of the house, where you're sitting in a pan of water in the warmest, moistest part of the house. Of course, mold is going to grow in it. And then, of course, you've got 2 stories of PVC drain pipe. That's a lot of drain pipe where a lot of mold can just sit and grow.
Absolutely.
And in my case, now I'm in sort of a ranch style home, but that drain pipe's got about 18 to 20 feet to go from where the unit is centrally located in the house to the exterior wall. Again, sorry.
Well, what you may be more interested in is we're creating an adjacent technology that works in partnership with the DrainBot. Is the only smart sensor available on the market that'll actually notify a homeowner of an impending flood. So instead of a float sensor, we're putting smart technology into that, connecting it with the device so that you'll actually know. It'll also shut off the unit, but it'll keep it off. And then it'll send text messages and emails saying, hey, just so you know, we found an issue. Please go look at this. And then we're offering it up to HVAC companies as well to say, look, this customer is currently experiencing an issue. Please reach out to this person at this time with this phone number to fix their problem. And that is the only thing on the market right now that we can offer. So yeah, I'd love to get y'all's feedback on that as well. We're just starting development on that now to integrate it with our technology.
Great.
Sign me up for all of the above. Sarah, I believe you had a question.
Yeah, thanks. I will go really quickly. I had a couple thoughts. So first of all, Gabriel and I are both from Minnesota. So coming here as transplants, I think, is an important component of kind of the learning process of becoming a Florida resident. So I think something that could be possibly helpful is kind of, when you get your new welcome packet in your mail, that could be a place where you could market to folks coming into the area. So one idea for you there. The fear-based selling, I think, is one thing that I would really leverage. I mean, I think that you kind of can hit people with the horror stories and the costs. And I mean, whether or not you've approached like a Home Depot, I think that type of a distribution, model could be possible. I don't know if you've had like the water, they do like a water thing, and they want to come and test your water, and it's all through Home Depot, but it's actually a third party. So anyway, that was one idea. I wanted to ask you if you've thought of approaching insurance companies, because sometimes insurance companies will give a discount if you have this sort of a preventative measure in the home. Mm-hmm. So that was another idea I had for you. And then I was going to just make sure, like, definitely get a patent. If you feel like California is going to mandate this, like, I'm sure you've thought of that, but.
We do have a patent pending. We're able to get legal assistance for free based on our economic status as a startup, which if you guys are interested in that, let me know. I didn't know it existed, and now I have a few friends who are using it, and it's been good. I often skip this value metrics because it's large and people don't tend to want to go through into that detail. But you can see insurance companies are actually highly interested because, one, they want to come off as they're giving better discounts than their competitor. which is great. And that's what we offer. We also offer statistics that currently don't exist. If you look at our area in the Southeast, flooding and flood insurance is all in one category. There is no, well, the toilet ran over and there was flooding. That's all roped into hurricane came in and their house went out in a flood. So to be able to provide this and say, this area is more prone to HVAC flooding based on this unit at this time, use your insurance accordingly, that's invaluable to them as well. And there's so much so that the discount they're willing to give their customers actually covers the costs of the bottles. So to the user, the bottles will be free. All you have to do is buy the unit.
Great. I just had one last thing for you. I don't know if your chemical is toxic free, but that would eco-friendly. That would
eco-friendly.
be a
Yep.
key metric or a key message that I am finding is incredibly important to this newer consumer in their homes, especially with kids or whatever, but tout that as much as you can.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. Actually, when we started doing validation, the number one question we got is, our number one recommendation we got was, can you create a solution that doesn't kill my grass? Apparently that was very big for all these customers who wanted to have it in their homes. They didn't want to kill grass. So we created, and we're patenting a hydrogen peroxide based solution that is going through a whole series of testing right now. It's actually more effective than bleach. And that's what's being delivered in the bottle. So you're absolutely right. I've done the research. Eco-friendly is huge with this demographic. Thank you, Sarah. As always.
Great questions. We have several more questions, and we're getting tight on time. I'm going to read a question from Facebook, and then I'm going to call on Jay Wingfield, and then if we can get to it, we'll get 2 other questions. But from Facebook, Philip Salzman asks, how does your technology notify the users or operations center?
Perfect. So we have a system that's embedded in our cloud service providers that when you install the unit, it'll ask to attach itself to its Wi-Fi. What that does is it will transmit once a day information such as how much fluid is in the bottle, when it should be replaced, what mode of injection are you in. We offer multiple different modes of injection between every 24 hours to every 72 hours, depending on depending on how long you've had the issue. And then in addition, the sensor will use that same connection via Bluetooth to send a message to the owners of the device. And this is all managed via our online portal. We haven't moved into an application yet because we're still trying to develop the portal and make it upright and going. But once we have that, you'll be able to use your phone to simply check everything about your unit and then receive notifications based on that. Let me know if that doesn't answer your question. I think I got it.
Yeah, I think it did. That's great. All right, Jay Wingfield. No idea how to unmute my iPhone.
Is that better?
That's better. We got you.
Okay. If I'm too loud, please let me know because I'm responding to a service call right now. But my question for you is, you talked about marketing it to the HVAC distribution centers.
Mm-hmm.
How are you selling it to them? Are you selling it to them at a wholesale and then they're going to make a profit on it? Selling it to the residents or the occupants?
So all of the above. We're open to all different ways. We've actually worked away from bottom to top now that we're talking about it. We've always wanted to sell directly to a customer, but we found what we did. And the distributors will purchase it at a lower price to then resell to HVAC companies who will then install it. And we're working to work deals either with HVAC companies who actually go out there and maintain this so that they can deliver the product, that they can install it to get money revenue that way, or simply advertise to the homeowners themselves to do it themselves. The issue we're finding with homeowners, good.
The reason I ask is I'm tied in with the restoration industry across the country.
Okay.
And one of your number one responders on that is going to be the restoration companies coming in and cleaning up and repairing that.
Hmm.
Have you considered targeting that industry as well?
I have not. What is the most effective way you recommend targeting that industry?
Probably the trade organizations.
Trade organizations. So associations will be an example of a trade organization.
Exactly. I'll tell you, I know they're short on time. If I can I'll get your email later and we can have that conversation offline.
Sounds good. It's Gabriel@drainbot.com. Drainbotcorp.com.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Great question. All right. Patrick Rooney has a question.
Patrick.
So far, so muted.
Ah, there you go. Now you can hear me. Headset and app off, and I'm on the app twice. So, Gabriel, good to see you again.
I got you.
Glad this is a really polished up presentation. To your questions, I sent you a couple of chat messages. One is a funding source for IoT technology startups in the Pensacola area that has money to invest and connections to assist. The other one is locally, NAIOP is the industry association, which is the Northwest Florida chapter of a commercial real estate development association that might have some value to you.
Okay.
Obviously, there's going to be some commercial real estate management type companies that are engaged with apartment complexes, multiple, residential rental units. Just keep in mind that after the crash of '08, that the venture capital industry went big into residential investment properties for rentals. And so the guys follow the money is a rule in life. So the guys with a lot of money invested might like to hear from somebody like you, especially where you can, as Foster would tell you, choke one throat and reach a million people. That's the right answer. Back to you, Jim.
Thanks for that.
Patrick, if you can get me in front of any of those people, I'd love to hear about it. I have been mentored by some VCs in the area about how to approach and how to work that side of the business environment. But if you can get me in front of those people and have those conversations over coffee, over lunch, or whatever, I'd be more than happy to do that. And then.
Okay, great. So we are going to let the last question lie. He will email you. So with that, Gabriel, thank you so much for your present. Oh wait, how can 1 million cups help you? You have a slide on it, and I think that answered the question. But do you want to throw something in there? How can our community support you?
Yeah, so we've hit all the topics already. As a small business development myself and getting into it, I'm a young guy, entrepreneur, getting in all this. Getting the knowledge from y'all and everything that we've been talking about is critical. Hearing stories about your success. I've worked with a lot of you in the past, so it's really cool to see us all move and progress and make Pensacola a better place for entrepreneurs. I'm all about that. I want to stick around, and just things like this is helping us move forward in our company. So it's a lot more than just getting the word out. It's about receiving the information you guys have. So I appreciate y'all.
We appreciate you and your mission to make Pensacola a great place. So thank you so much.